Hi everyone, this is Julius Haryadi. I'm internal medicine physician working here in the US, and today is quite a special video. I'm going to share with you how I answer my residency interview questions back then and how I would answer it differently now that I have more experience and better understanding of the system overall. So let's get started. I'm going to answer just like 5 most common residency interview questions. The first one would be, tell me about yourself. The second question is, how do you find our program? And then the third one is, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And then the fourth one is, why you choose internal medicine or why you choose this specialty. And the last one is, what is your strength or why we should choose you over other candidates. It's pretty much the same idea. So before I answer all these questions, I'm gonna let you know that it's been like 7 years, almost 8 years now since my residency interview. So it's been long time, and I was trying to look back into my laptop if I have some documents or something that I wrote down, like plan or like frame, like if I have a notes that I used to answer these questions in my preparation, etc. I can't find any documents related to that, unfortunately. I think I lost it because my laptop there was one time during my residency the laptop was broken, and then I think I lost all the data. Probably the documents was inside that hard disk when it was broken, so there is nothing much I can do there. So what I do now is I try to recall, I use my remote memory, I try to recall what I answered back then, which I believe I answered back then. So that is pretty much the best I can do right now. Alright, so let's get started. The first question is, tell me about yourself. So I believe this is how I answered that question. I said that, hi, thank you so much for having me today. Again, my name is Julius Haryadi. I was born and raised in Indonesia, and I grew up in a small town called Garut until I was like 4th grade, and after that I moved to Jakarta, and then I completed my high school and my medical school there. I went to the University of Indonesia Faculty of Medicine, and then I went to do my social service for 1 year at Laurentuka East for Flores. It's a very remote area. Over there I actually practice very minimal supervision. I practice independently to take care of patients, do diagnosis, history, physical exam, all of those. After I completed 1 year of my social service, came back to Jakarta, I became a tutor. I tutored an Indonesian medical license examination for around 6 to 7 months, and then after that decided to go for USMLE, came to New York. I did Kaplan course, and I studied USMLE for step 1 for 7-8 months, and then step 2 CK, and then step 3. Now while I was studying USMLE, after I completed step 1, I really loved to teach, and because of that I also became a tutor. I tutored USMLE for step 1, and after I passed step 2 I do step 2, and then after past step 3 I did step 3. So I really love teaching. It really enriched my knowledge, and then during that period as well I do a couple US clinical experience. The most impactful for me would be the IMCU rotations back in Ohio, where I learned Cerner, US medical system, how I present the case, and it was very meaningful experience for me, and now I'm here. So that's pretty much how I answer it back then, give or take. So now I want to comment myself how I would say it differently. There are a couple things that like quite a downside of that answer that's quite lacking, that makes the response quite weak. So one biggest thing would be it lacks personalization. So it doesn't provide any personal values to the interviewer. I didn't share any personal values there. I pretty much reciting my CV only, because they read my CV, they know what I did next. I became a tutor, I did my social service, and all those things. I actually mentioned that I kind of like recite the CV a little bit. I would say completely fine to tell, because some interviewer, when they interview you, they don't know much about you. They don't probably read your CV yet. So, and if they do, I mean, there's a lot of people, they won't really remember exactly, what actually happened. So reciting your CV, telling how did you do your journey and get to where you are, is still valuable. It's kind of part of getting to know you, where you're coming from. But the biggest downside of that response is it lacks personal values. It lacks telling the interviewer about your personality. So I would say it a little bit differently. Actually, this is how I can try to change it. So when I was living in Garut, which is a small town in Indonesia where there's pretty much nothing there is actually a reason why I moved to Jakarta from 4th grade to 5th grade. And I didn't share that during my interview. All of my 13 interviews, I didn't share that. And I think I should have shared that because it actually kind of tell me who I am. And the reason why I actually moved was because my mom, who is an Asian and a tiger mom, it drives her crazy because I never have any homework. That is actually the reason. I never got any homework, and every time I got home, I don't know why, I love to kick the ball into the wall and then do it like repetitively. And my mom would come and she called me by my middle name, Leonard, do you have any homework? And I said nope, and then just keep playing. And that drives her crazy. And that is actually the reason why I was moved from Garut to Jakarta, because I didn't get any homework. So that's the reason. And that feels personal. That's kind of funny as well. So I should have shared that. And then another part that I can share is actually why I would wait 6-7 months tutoring Indonesian medical license examinations, not coming to the US immediately. Well, there is actually some relationship issue there. I was debating whether I should have stayed in Indonesia or I should just go to the US. I was actually debating there. So I can share what happened in that period as well. And then the next thing that I can share is living in New York. Living in New York is harsh. Like, I was financially struggled because my parents stopped supporting me after they fly me to New York and then give me the money for a Kaplan course, basically. But after that, I have to pretty much try to find a way to survive on my own. That's also part that I should have shared because that's very personal. I don't even want to spend $1 for a water bottle, you know. So it's because it's just financially like difficult. Luckily, I have a friend that helped me, and so we can babysit their kids and then get some money from that, you know, pretty much lend me some money as well. So I survived through that. I should have shared that as well. So there is like multiple things that I can share throughout my journey that is more personal and it gets them to know me better. So I think that's very important. If you want to answer, tell me more about yourself, then I would highly recommend you to make it structured. You can say a little bit more about the journey, but try to make it personalized. If there is some event that you feel like it sounds funny and humorous, you should share that as well. It really makes you like a human. So that's the first question. Now, the second question is, how do you find our program? Now, actually, I shared how I answered this question in another YouTube video, which I did red flags during my interview. And that is true. This is how I answer it. I'm just going to share it right now rather than you going back to, if you want to watch that video, go ahead. But this is pretty much kind of like the summary. I just hate to waste your time. So pretty much when they asked, the question was not like, why do you apply to our program or how you find our program? Or it would be different if they say, why you see our program is interest to you, or like what is the thing in our program that makes you interested to apply. It's not like that. The questions was pretty straightforward. Most interviews that I went to, they're gonna ask, how did you find our program? Why do you apply to our program? It's like that. Well, they asked why I applied to the program. Well, the reason is because I honestly just mentioned how I actually researched the program and actually applied them. So the way I did, and I just explained the whole process. So I'm a non-US IMG. My chances of match is low. So I'm looking for programs that have a high level of IMG. And then I look through Frida and I screen through them. So I'm looking for a program that has high level of IMG, at least 50% and above. If 100%, that would be much better. And then after that, I screen based on pretty much the locations. I love to live in the East Coast area because I have family here. I have like very close church friends here. So I would like to stay on the East Coast area, and your programs happen to be one of them. So that's how I apply to your program. That's pretty much the answer that I give. And then this sounds like, I mean, if you, the one that's watching here, I don't know why if you are professionals that teach residency interview would watch this video, but basically if you watch it, you feel like, oh, this guy's an idiot. Yeah. You don't research the program beforehand. But that's how I apply it. And that's the reason why I applied to the program. That program just happened to one of them. And then there's a lot of programs. Even with that screening, you will find about 100-ish programs, right? So that's how I applied to the program. That's how I did it. And so that's how I said it. That's how my answer is. And then apparently they were very amazed. They said that, wow, you're very honest. I think because out of so many applicants, there's only just one idiot that answered it that way. And then immediately they say, wow, you're very honest. I really like you. And then I would talk to the program director so we can rank you high. I don't know. But that's just how I answer it. If I had a training with the other residency program interviewer, if I learned from a company on how to do my interview, then I would say I would give a generic answers, right? This because I didn't do it. The benefit is that I didn't give generic answers. My answer is just suddenly completely different than other people. So that's how I answer it. Now, how I would answer it now, I would say I didn't regret how I answered it because that was the outcome that I get after I share it. So pretty happy with the response. But in addition, I would add, well, after I put the application and after I received the invitation, I researched more about your program and I decided to come because I am actually becomes interested in the program itself. Then you research of the program and then tell them something that's really good about that program that you really like, you genuinely like. So you have to make it personal. You have to connect what the program has and what your values and what you're looking for. For example, if the program offers outpatient residency ambulatory clinic, for example, and that's not common in every program in the US. If they offer you that and you have your own patient and you're interested in ambulatory training, then you can say, I'm interested because your program is unique and have this. If the program has a very high level of fellowship, especially in pulmonary critical care, or probably the program has a pulmonary critical fellowship, and I said that I want to become a pulmonary critical care, then I would say as well that, well, I'm interested because you have a high chance of getting a pulmonary critical care, which is a fellowship that I'm aiming for. You see, so you just have to fit in. I know a lot of you non-US IMG, just like me, when I was applying, it doesn't matter, I just want to match. Right? It's not like we pick and choose, or this is the program I want to go. It doesn't matter right now. We just want to match. We have worked so hard, so many years doing USMLE, USCE. I know you feel like you live in a limbo right now. You don't know if you're going to be successful or not successful. Am I going to match this year, or is this another year? And then time is moving forward. It never stops. And people around you keep asking you, are you going to match? Are you going to be a resident? Are you going to be successful? Don't you want just to get married and that's it? So we just want to match. We just want to match as a non-US IMG, really. And so what you're gonna do is, when you find out that you are matched to a program, then you try to match what's the nice about the program and then try to fit in. I think I would do that. I would definitely do that. So that would be the addition of how I approach that questions. After I said that this is how I research, but after that, just follow-up answer. Well, after I received the invitation, I researched more in the program and become more interested in it, things like that. So it showed that you also put some work in researching the program, Now, we move on to the next question. The next question is, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Back then, I want to become a pulmonary critical care doctor. So I answer it somewhere along this line. In my personal statement, actually, I share a story about a patient with acute hypoxemic respiratory failure, and then she passed away. I was very curious about that case because my medical knowledge is very poor at that time, and I don't know why she would pass away. Obviously, she used all her accessory muscles, and we don't give her any ventilatory support, and of course, she would pass away. Looking back retrospectively, I realized that there is nothing much I can do for her, apparently. But I didn't know at that time, so I was very interested with pulmonary critical care. It's complex, the patient is critically ill, and able to do a great save for these people is very rewarding and bring me high satisfaction. And when I did my MICU rotation in Ohio, I was actually quite surprised because a lot of septic and respiratory failure patients, and they all survive. How did this happen? It's a miracle, because when I was back in Indonesia, everybody dies, So that gives me like strong interest toward pulmonary critical care, and that's how I see myself in the future when I want to do a fellowship. So that was my answer for that question. Now, what would I answer now? Well, it would be cheating because turns out I'm not a pulmonary critical care doctor, and I don't plan to do that, like not even now. I enjoy my work as a PCP, so it's not fair for me to say if I answer it 5 years from where I am now. So I would try to imagine back then I would still say the same thing. I think that would be a very simple, straightforward answer. Because 5 years, if you want to do fellowship, 5 years you want to be a fellow, that's legit. Yeah. So now we move on to the next one. Why do you choose internal medicine? Now this question is what makes making this video longer than I thought. A lot of planning, because I can't recall if I actually ever got these questions. This is actually why I was like looking back in my laptop, try to find out that document that I put some notes in what I answer for each interview questions. I can't find it because I can't recall if I actually ever had these questions. Maybe it was too straightforward of a question. Maybe if it's a psychiatry or something else, then they probably ask why you want to choose this specialty. But I don't know. I can't recall this questions ever asked to me, and I can't recall how I answered them in the past. So for these questions, I would answer it the way I think I would answer them. It's got a little bit cheating, but this is the best I can do for now. So my answer to that, why you choose internal medicine, is, to be honest with you, is because I watched Dr. House. I watched House MD. That's why I want to become internal medicine doctor. Well, when I entered medical school in 2007, 2008, that is actually when the House MD TV show started. So it's kind of like I grew up with House MD show. And at that time, of course, you start entering medical school, you don't know what kind of specialty you want to go to, right? And then you watch the House MD. I enjoy it. It's medicine. It's interesting, but I don't plan to become a jerk like House MD, So don't get me wrong. Now, I enjoy the mystery and how to solve them. I always love problem solving since I was like maybe around middle school and high school. So I love math, I love physics, I love chemistry. The part that I really like is to figure out that aha moment when you do math questions. You have to have some form of an idea on how to answer it. And then when you see, and then you think, and then when you figure out, oh, this is it. This is how to answer these questions. That aha moment is like a dopamine rush. The same thing when I answer USMLE questions. Sometimes there's a difficult question and you have an aha moment. You have this epiphany suddenly when you go back to the previous question, especially, and that's how I do my USMLE, by the way, is my USMLE Test Taking Strategies. I give it for you for free. If you're doing USMLE right now, just use the link description below. I have a free online course, USMLE Test Taking Strategies. One of the things that I teach is skip the hard questions and come back. And when I come back, I can feel the epiphany. When I found the epiphany, oh, this is the way to answer it. And by the way, the word epiphany also comes from Dr. House MD. So when I found the epiphany, it feels good. It's dopamine rush. So when I watch House, it's the same thing, and that's how I see internal medicine is actually some mystery that's waiting to be solved. It's not only diagnosis. Now I realize it's not only diagnosis, but actually management as well. So even though it has the same diagnosis, we have a different way to treating it and to find what's the best way to treating it. And the best part is this time you're not only solving questions on a paper. When you solve a problem, it saves patients' lives. So that's why I choose internal medicine, really. So that's my answer for that one. And then the next one is, the last one is, what is your strength? Or you can say, what is your unique, or what is the thing that sets you apart from the other candidate, or why we need to choose you over other candidates? Same questions, right? So the way I answered it back then, I believe it was two reasons. One, I said that I have a very strong confidence in my medical knowledge. And the reason is because I tutor like many hours a day, 365 days a year. It's true. I tutor like every single day, even on Sunday. I keep going, So medicine is already part of my life, and I don't mind that. I don't feel burnout or anything. I just enjoy it. I enjoy teaching. I enjoy medicine, and because of teaching is really the best way to learn. I keep updating my knowledge, and I'm very, very confident with my medical knowledge. So I wouldn't have any problem with that. So that's one. And secondly, I said that my strength is actually my culture. As an Indonesian, we value a lot of families, of relationships, and this translated to how I connect and treat other people. So in Indonesians, we don't actually have the word colleague. We can translate it and force translate it, but it's not actually our true words. We call everybody as a friend. You come to a new environment, you meet with someone, you chat with them, or even more, if you work with them, you call them a friend. There's no word like colleague. Again, you can force it saying colega, but it's just not really a common word to use. We just use, I met a new friend or friend. The simplicity of language somehow helps, makes people feel closer to one another. I met couple of friends when I was doing my IMCU rotations. I worked with them, and I'll call them my friend. That's the second strength that I have. One is medical knowledge. Second is my culture, where I value friendship. I value relationships. I think that's all the answer that I provided for that. So how I would answer it now, I would still answer it the same way with some addition. I would say that I'm confident with the medical knowledge. I would say that I value relationships with people. I would probably give a little bit better examples, maybe adding some examples or some real life examples. But I would add the third one, and the third one would be I'm mentally resilient. It's hard for me to get burnout, and it's easy for me to distress. Now I can explain this by two things. One is that I have gone through for 4 years of medical school. I've gone through a very harsh environment. Indonesian's medical culture has a strong hierarchical relationships. So I get used to screaming and yelling, swearing, calling by names. So it's really common. And because we live in like a secluded society and we are really busy, that's all we know. So that kind of environment is actually pretty normal. It's harsh, I don't like it, but we take it as just a day-to-day normalcy. Nothing special or anything, it's just the way it is. Now coming to America, things are different. But that makes me very, very resilient. It's just very hard for me to burn out because I already get used to like pretty much the harsh environment. And another thing that I would like to bring up as my strength that would explain the mental resilience is the fact that I was an esports athlete. I play fighting games, I play Tekken Tag. I put actually in my CV that I'm third place in esports world championship in Paris. I've played Tekken for, at that time, 20 years, seriously competing for about 4 or 5 years to achieve that. So being an athlete, just like pretty much any other sports, you will need to have high focus, you need to have a strong mental, you need to have a positive mindset. And especially in Tekken, you will have to have that high focus and also very quick decision making. If you're, and this is a split second decision making. Now, if you're slow in your decision making, you're gonna lose. If you lose focus even for a bit, you're gonna lose, especially in the high level. Even in the lower level, it's completely fine. But if you are in the high level, in the world level, then you can't lose focus. You have to keep focusing for the next like 15 minutes and able to make that split decision making. And as an athlete, I have the mentality of if I come to a tournament, I want to win. There's no point if I don't win. I have to win. I have to be the first place. So that is my mindset. And I have a strong positive mindset that I would win. Regardless of the results the day before, I would think that I would win. I still remember the night before the biggest tournament in Indonesia that would make you decide if I can actually go to Paris or not. The night before, I visualized myself many times that I win, that I won the tournament, I got the first place, I go to Paris. Like many times at night, maybe 100 times or probably even more, And I actually applied the same techniques, same strategy for my USMLE journey. I visualized I got a high score, and hence I managed to get a high score. It's all because of the positive mindset. So I'm pretty positive as a person. I'm very resilient, and it's very hard for me to get a burnout. And I think that's the biggest strength that I have, that I think you will have a hard time to find in anyone else. So those are pretty much my answers for all those 5 interview questions. I think if I practice more, I can probably phrase it in much better way. But yeah, that's it. I hope that you found it helpful maybe for your next interview in the future. And thank you for watching. On top of the USMLE Test Taking Strategies, I have one more gift for you, which is the USCE Essentials, which tells you how to get the USCE, the types of USCE, how to excel in USCE, and I also add 30 plus hospitals that offer USCE for non-US IMG. You can get it all for free. Just use the link down in the description below. So that's it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you again in the next video for more USMLE and residency matching tips. Bye.